All right, everybody, welcome to the next module. And this one is a little bit different before we get into the meat and potatoes. We are going to talk about the history of fix and flips in the United States. So, in this lesson, we're going to step back in time just a little bit. So, before we dive into spreadsheets, renovations, potential deals that we will be doing together, I want you to really understand where house flipping came from, how it's evolved over the decades, and why it continues to be one of the most powerful wealth building strategies in real estate. Because when you understand the history, you can better recognize the patterns, the cycles, opportunities, and pitfalls that have shaped this business. Where did house flipping actually start? While the term fix and flip is surprisingly kind of new, the concept of buying undervalued real estate, improving it, and reselling it for profit has been around for over a century. So back in the 1940s, 1950s, it was after World War II, America experienced a massive housing boom. Developers were building suburbs at record speed, and smart investors realized they could buy older city homes, update them, and resell them to families moving back into the established neighborhoods. Now, these early flippers didn't have HGTV or hard money lenders. They had elbow grease, local contractors, and a lot of faith. The model was simple: buy cheap, improve value, and sell higher. And that formula really hasn't changed much since. But flipping really took off once modern mortgage lending and renovation financing became accessible. That's when it became a mainstream investing strategy. So then, fast forward to the 1980s, 1990s, this is when flipping began to look more like what we know it today. Interest rates were dropping from historic highs, mortgage lending was expanding, and local markets started seeing more speculation. In many cities, investors realized they could buy rundown homes in working class neighborhoods, do light cosmetic rehabs, and sell to first time homebuyers for a solid profit. But by the 1990s, flipping had become an actual business model. Real estate seminars were teaching people how to find undervalued homes, negotiate with banks, and leverage financing. This also was when foreclosure investing started gaining attention. Investors were buying properties directly from banks or at courthouse auctions. And then came the media boom. TV shows and infomercials promising people they could get rich flipping houses. And some of those shows made it look a little too easy, but they did inspire a new generation of real estate, including myself. So then the early 2000s were just a wild time for house flipping. Low interest rates, easy lending, and skyrocketing home prices created what some people call the golden age of flipping. Investors and even everyday homeowners were buying houses, holding them for a few months, and then selling for massive profits with little to no renovation. But here's where things went wrong. Many people stopped treating it like an investment and started treating it like a get-rich-quick scheme. They ignored fundamentals, stopped running numbers, overpaid for properties, and assumed prices would just always go up. Then, in 2008, the housing market crashed. Prices fell, credit dried up, and thousands of flippers were left holding properties worth less than they paid. Some lost everything. But here's the important lesson. The investors who treated flipping like a business, who focused on value creation instead of speculation, they survived. They adjusted their strategies, shifted to buying deeply discounted foreclosures, and came out even stronger. This period taught the industry a huge lesson. Flipping isn't about timing the market. It's about buying right, managing risk, and creating real value. Now, after the crash, the 2010s brought a whole new era for flipping. Banks were offloading thousands of foreclosed homes, and investors who had cash or access to private funding stepped in to rebuild the neighborhoods. This is when the professionalization of flipping began. Investors started forming LLCs, hiring project managers, working with real estate agents, and using data-driven tools to analyze deals. TV networks jumped in too. Big shows like Flip or Flop, Fixer Upper, Property Brothers, there's a ton now. All made flipping a household word. But behind the cameras, serious investors were systematizing the business. Using spreadsheets and CRM software, building contractor teams, and scaling from 1 or 2 flips a year to 10, 20, or more. Some of them are even doing that much a month. It's insane. But it became a true industry, not just a side hustle. So now, fast forwarding into the 2020s, house flipping has entered we'll call it a tech era. because today investors use platforms like Zillow, PropStream, Redfin, Privy, ton of others. We have some that we'll be introducing you to as well. But they use these to source deals, analyze comps, and even estimate rehab costs with just a few clicks. Hard money lenders can approve loans in 48 hours. You can hire contractors online, manage projects with mobile apps, and sell properties through digital marketing campaigns. Even institutional investors and iBuyers like Opendoor, OfferPad, even Zillow has their own type of iBuyer. They jumped into flipping at scale using algorithms to buy, renovate, and resell homes. Now, this has backfired on them as well, but I won't go into that. But here's what's fascinating. Despite all the tech, the core principles have not changed. You still win by buying below market value, adding real improvements, and selling at the right price. What's changed is how efficiently and intelligently you can do it. So, what can we learn from this history? Every generation of flippers faces different market conditions, but the fundamentals always stay the same. Markets change, principles don't. The best investors create value, not speculation. Crashes and booms come and go, but disciplined investors and flippers always find opportunity. Understanding this helps you avoid hype and stay focused on what actually works. So now that you understand how flipping has evolved from post-war pioneers to today's tech-driven investors, you can see this isn't a fad. It's a proven wealth strategy that's adapted and thrived for decades. In the next module, we'll shift from history to actual strategy, diving into how to find and analyze profitable fix and flip deals in today's market. Because understanding where flipping came from helps you see where it's going and how you can build long-term success. I'll see you in the next module.